and the whole of Brixton came in pretty much, and the rest we had people coming from up north, coming down for this spectacular night, and we used to sit back after every night and just be, oh my god, it's just going crazy. Eventually, we got shut down by the police.
Welcome back to Shotgun the Orcs podcast. Tom here again, hosting solo. Surprise, surprise. Today we have a very special guest. He's one of my favourite rappers in the UK and one who played a big part in my discovery and love for UK hip-hop back in the day. It's Mr. Manage. How are you doing, man?
Hello, mate. Thanks for having me on the show, man. Appreciate that.
Oh, man, it's long overdue. I was just saying, like, I reached out to you. You're the first person I reached out to when we started doing this podcast. And my boy Aidan was just like, you know what, man, we need to start getting some guests on. I was just like, how sick would that be? So it's been kind of a long time in the works. So at least, we made it happen some way.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times people holler at me and I don't really have any product going on. It's like, I got nothing to talk about, mate. I got nothing new. We could talk about the old stuff, but I've talked about that, I couldn't hardly remember half of it, Just keep it moving,
Yeah, man, I hear you. I think it's like, it's probably like naive on my part, do you know what I mean? Because it was like we're setting it up fresh and just like, fucking hell, yeah, just reach out to rappers and see what they got to talk about, not thinking about the kind of business aspect and like the fact that they might not have music out to talk about, do you know what I mean? It's like...
I think that's how most good things start, though, without thinking about the business side of shit. I mean, every hip-hop event I've been involved with was purely just for people saying, oh, let's just do something. And then we worried about all that shit sort of later,
So starting as of kind of today, so the Scrapbook EP is an imminent release of yours, dropping soon on Revorg Records. I've listened to the project. I don't think people even know this is coming, man. It is sick.
Thank you.
The video talk on it dropped recently as well, and I was just like, yes, Manage is back. Do you know what I mean? That kind of signature sounds. You say there's a bar in the track that says, I wrote this shit without caring what the kids like, which I think really kind of sums you up as an artist, as a rapper, and why I'm still a fan. So what was the process behind this particular project, man?
Oh, man, the process was, like, for all MCs who listen and stuff, you have like your little catalogue of bars written in your phone or your scrapbooks or whatever, hence the name Scrapbook. I just had a load of stuff sitting in there over the last couple of years that I ain't been able to put together through moving houses a lot and the studio being packed up. So I had loads of little bars, but it was just like starts of verses or maybe a one verse, maybe just a hook. And I sat there and I had all these beats as well. And I got so many beats sent out for like rappers and that. I was like, what else have I got here? What do I really like? And the thing is, from how a beat sounds to when it's processed, mixed, arranged, mastered, it's completely different. And so I just started going, what do I hear promising? That, okay, what lyrics have I got? We'll go with that. Build off of that. And every track just went boom, 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 boom in a line. It just fell on my lap, literally, just through bits and bobs I had sitting about.
Man, that's crazy.
Can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I know. Now I listen to it and I'm like, with the skits and the choice of what beats and stuff, that created the theme. See, I'm very into creating a theme with each project I'm involved with. I like it to be a bit of a journey, And so the same with this one as well. Once I started picking certain skits and the intro and the outro, and certain tracks went a certain way, and that merged onto the next idea, and that's how I like to do it. It just really came together so easily. It's unreal.
So it was all solely produced by yourself, or did you outsource it all?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is sick, man.
Yeah.
It's got a real nice so talk on it. Just it's got a real kind of Havoc kind of vibe to it in terms of like the beat.
Well, he's the best, man.
Ultimate compliment, isn't it?
I can't look any other way as far as my production. I think at the same time I started to try and produce, I was hanging around people like Chemo and Beat Butcher, who were just amazing. And they also, Chemo especially, had a heavy influence from Havoc, Mobb Deep. We love that sound. when I first started making beats, straight away I found the Mod Deep drum pack, and it was like gold. I was like, yes. I've got all the Havoc snares and stuff, and every beat had exactly the same snare for about 2 beats, you know. It was a piano and a bass. It was like, oh god, you know, it was just, I love that sound, man. I always love that sound. Havoc,
Same, man. And it's kind of
that
like
reverb on the snare, I blatantly stole from him, man. As soon as I heard it, and Kimo was like, oh yeah, you gotta have that little reverb on the snare. It's never left me, man. I couldn't hardly put a snare in without a touch of reverb, thanks to Havoc. Like,
I think as well with like Havoc stuff, it's so like simple but in a complex way, if that makes sense. It's like an exercise in restraint. It's not like overly complicated, but obviously it is to someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
and rugged but smooth at the same time.
Yeah,
I think I like that sound. You know?
same, man. It's just that kind of classic East Coast sound, but it just works so well. But as someone who's been kind of in the game for so long now, man, has your approach to making music changed over time? Obviously, we're in kind of different times now, the way people digest music. And
Well, I'm more self-sufficient than I ever was, because when I started, Jesus, the first people who put me on was Defcon.
that was 99, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first release.
I realise.
I used to just go around. I started, funny enough, writing it down and picking up a mic in Plymouth. Now, I was up to a lot of naughty stuff when I was younger in London, got myself in quite a bit of trouble. We won't go into that too much, but I needed to get away was what needed to happen. And my missus, she had family down there, so I said, yeah, let's get out of here, let's get out of London, it's getting a bit mental. We went down there, and I just see some posters on the walls in the high street and that, you know, thing called Flavour, hip hop, open mic, etc., etc. Oh, I'm gonna go down there, you know. I was like, what, 15, renting a little bed sit by the front in Plymouth. You know what I mean? No money. We didn't have a penny. I did all sorts of things to get money, from picking up shopping trolleys people left about in the car park, collecting quids. I mean, it was proper. I needed to get out of London, though, and whatever it took, you know. You just start building. And I went to this night anyway, and the DJ was there, and I went up to him and I was like, yeah, can I have the mic, man? And he was like, oh, what, do you rap? I was like, yeah, I rap. And he's like, come. And he took me to one side, and he's like, yeah, do a rap in my ear, man. Do a rap in my ear. And I had like 2 verses that I've been spitting for like 5 years from just, they was just in my head, you know, from school even, you know. And I spit to him, and he was like, yeah, all right, we'll get you the mic. And he got me the mic, and I was just stood in front of these people in a nightclub, and they was all dancing to like hip hop, and they just stopped, and I was rapping, and it must have been good because people come up after and was just showing me love and everything, and started from there. That DJ, he was, who we know him as Tall Paul, but he changed his name to DJ XL, and we're still friends now, man. He's a real good guy for hip hop and Southwest as well. That's
crazy, man. So after you kind of exhausted those 2 verses that you memorized, what happened then?
To be honest with you, I think I delved into lyrics from Rakim, from NWA, from whoever I'd have been listening to over the years, purely because people were standing there wanting something, thinking of a master plan. You know, cool, they like so I just started going over whatever. I didn't have nothing. I was like, I freestyled for a bit, and a bit of this and a bit of that, and we all just sort of joked about it, and I was like, maybe I should start. The DJ said to me, he goes, you ever thought about writing it down? I was like, yeah, I should really. And it was really basic. It was really, but it had energy. That's the thing.
That's the thing, man. I think like every time I've heard one of your tracks, I think it's just the kind of intensity that you bring to it that always resonated with me. So like Live in Protest, that album, I mean, I remember buying it when it dropped. I think back in MySpace in like 2006. And I lost the CD when I moved house, and I've got it again on vinyl, man. But it's just the kind of intensity and clarity in which you spit. Like, you understand every bar really, really clearly. And I think a lot of heads don't do that anymore. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a record that's just
was always a thing. I always liked other rappers with good clarity as well.
Yeah.
Goes a long way. You know, you see someone live, and you know, people can be overly technical sometimes. It's just not necessarily needed. Some of the dopest rappers I've heard, like, people struggle to understand them. It was like Cyanide was someone I rapped with a lot. Was a friend of Chemo's.
Yeah, he's on
And
the album as well, isn't he? He was on that.
very
I remember.
very gruffly voice.
Yeah.
But if you have the ear, oh my God, lyrically, he was shitting on people left, right, and centre. It's crazy. It's funny how you said live in protest, because we always said live in protest, and that was sort of the thing we left out. I think Snuff came up with the name.
Because I've heard it in an ad lib, like, as both. So I heard it in an ad lib in the album, and it said live, and then I heard it recently on Scrapbook. You say like live in protest, and I was like, fuck, which is it?
Yeah, it was Snuff who came up with that name, who helped me put out that first thing. And he was just like, yeah, live in protest. And I was like, is it live or live in protest though? Like, and he was like, well, we didn't actually think that. He goes, well, there, it works. Yeah, fuck it, we'll go with that then, man.
Well, yeah, finally the question's been answered, man. But
yeah,
you had some.
I say it, man. Really, you know?
That's good to know, man. But it's some of the features on that project were ridiculous. I mean, like you mentioned Cyanides, King Kai, that Lee Scott is like the anti-heroes days, and then more impressively, you had that posse cut at the end with like Skinny Man, Low Key, fucking Doc Brown. I think OV was on it as well. Yeah, it's a crazy album, man. It's just like
shameless
UK classic, man.
Yeah, it's we was
shameless,
Corner at the time, and me and Snuff set that up. Snuff was the driving force. I'd been in like rapping around London and stuff for quite a while, so I picked up like quite a group of friends, really. So when we firstly, like Speaker's Corner, we started purely because we couldn't get put on. I think it's how a lot of people end up starting, is we was trying to get on in certain circles that were running hip hop nights in London and outside, and no one was interested. We didn't have a lot of product, but we had a good sound. We had good DJs, good rappers, everything with us. But no one was really interested in opening their doors. And Snuff was like, we'd been running a few things at squat parties and stuff like that, just getting sets were here and there where we could, and just we'd just try and bring all the rappers through for it and stuff like that, you know. And it was going okay, but it was nothing consistent. So then Snuff went and talked to the people who ran Jam, which was called Bar Lorca back then, and they was totally down for it. So we arranged, first Thursday of the month, free entry hip hop night. No idea that it would just go berserk like that. We just said to everyone we knew, come down, we'll give you a set, come down. It's free entry, we can't pay anyone, but it's there. We're just going to open the doors basically, and the whole of Brixton came in pretty much, and the rest we had people coming from up north, coming down for this spectacular night, and we used to sit back after every night and just be, oh my God, it's just going crazy. Eventually, we got shut down by the police, unfortunately.
Fuck, man. Who else was on the bill, man?
It was everyone in UK hip hop at that time. Literally, Snuff just said to me, all right, who are we going to get down? And I said, all right, well, I got my phone out and just started ringing people. And we had everyone, and then everyone brought everyone, and it was great. And the amount of names, I wish Snuff was sitting there because he would just reel off names for you. I'm not great like that.
No, man.
Everyone you could think of. And not only people from the UK, we had people from the States coming over, like Saigon and stuff like that. People would pass through on their tours, and just come through. Had to be in speakers, it was a real good vibe. And so with the album, a lot of the features and stuff came from people who was coming to Speaker's Corner,
Yeah, man. Because that cipher that's online still, that it's like an old one of like you gibberish, like Possessed,
Still Real,
Doc Brown. Yeah, that was crazy. Where was that? Real Deal.
That was at Deal Real.
Deal Real. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. There's sometimes people say the real, Deal Real, or whatever.
It's a tongue twister, man. I guess that's the point, isn't it?
Deal Real was amazing, man. We had great times there, and it was a big thing for the scene at the time. A lot of rappers who came out of that is unbelievable, with Ryan Asylum being up there, as Low Key being up there. I mean, come on. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but Yeah. So what was we saying like about the rappers about at that time?
Yeah, yeah. I was just asking who was on the bill. Yeah, like when you did those shows before it got shut down. You said pretty much everyone in your
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah. We had pretty much everyone in the UK scene pass through, and people who was not just rappers as well. We had poets and so on, and it was mad. We got shut down because Lambeth, if I have this right, they come up with some stupid law, the police, that you wasn't allowed to play bashment or ragga in Brixton. Yeah, for real.
So specific, innit? Like why?
So specific. So we tried to change the name and so on and stuff like that to not have that on the flyer, and they just had it in for us. They wanted us to change it to a members only night. Come on. Yeah, right. Never would have worked. And they put so much pressure on the club because we had it free entry, which, as much as it allowed so many hip hop heads in, it also allowed a lot of people with not the greatest intentions.
Yeah,
And
man.
so
You're always going to get that, though. Do you know what I mean?
a lot of people say they enjoyed it because of that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a bit rough,
Bit of
It,
character.
it definitely had that. I mean, we had some things happen in there that wasn't great. So basically, they shut it down. We tried to rebirth it in other ways, but no, I think that was that. It was a good time. But that was a massive backdrop to that Live in Protest album. It was a sign of the times right there with Speaker's Corner and all the stuff we was doing, and it was I think it brought a lot of people together on that album.
Yeah. Do you think that kind of sense of community and that kind of live environment is like missing a bit more now? Like obviously there's still kind of live shows, but where it's like a community, it's raw, it's like a night for it. Everyone's there, everyone's talking to each other. Do you think the
Yeah.
UK has anything like that now, or
I,
needs
I,
something like that now?
I, firstly, it would be hard for me to say because I'm a lot older now, and I don't go out as much as I did, and don't hang around the clubs and so on. So it would be difficult. But when I do go out, I do catch memories of what it was like, to be honest. And I see a lot of younger heads out there doing their thing, and everyone's linking and wanting to go off and build tracks together. This is exactly how it was for us, really. I can't see too much difference, man. I really like Cypher Lounge, and you go higher learning, which is on a smaller scale, but even down in Deptford, Duck Down Deptford repping, it's good to see little things like that. I mean, but I haven't been out to a lot of the bigger nights, and obviously, without going out to them, it's hard to even say really what's popping. I've been a lot in my own thing. I haven't really been out in the scene so much, you know what I mean? I've just been sort of listening to my own music, making my own beats, and then as of lately, sort of re-picking up the mic again and doing a bit of that.
Yeah, man. Do you think that like obviously like
Online it's massive though. You see, I sort of say tongue in cheek to mates sometimes, oh, it lives online now, you know what I mean? It's where it is now. And it's a massive part of it, but if you see, there's so much good stuff out there. So much. I mean, it's never ending. You used to struggle to find good UK hip hop. Sorry to say, when I was coming up, it was a struggle. There wasn't a lot of good. There was the good, and then there was a lot of other stuff.
yeah.
All that. Now the quality, the bar has been raised massively. Like, from the production, the whole presentation of what people are doing now is so much farther forward than what it was when I was coming in.
100%, man. I think it like everything's really well curated and packaged together with visual media, videos. Just it seems like a lot of the younger heads have like business acumen. Do you know what I mean? They know what they want to do with it. Not to say that people didn't back in the day, but I think just because the tools that are available now allow them to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Everything's more kind of you can put out music instantly. You can drop an album at the drop of a hat. Do
I
you know what I'm
remember
saying? It's kind of
how it used to be when I first started writing, like thinking about being a rapper and making music and stuff. The thing to do was get a good demo together, get 3 or 4 tracks, a good demo, shop that demo to labels, so on and so on. And I tried that. I sent it to radio stations, sent it not a lot of interest, you know, because one, it was hard to get a good demo together without people hearing you. So finding a good producer who had a studio and stuff, we used to just try to do it all ourselves, you know, really, and it just sounded rough as fuck. Sounded terrible, you know. We didn't have the high quality stuff. I say until I met like Defcon and started recording with them, and then later on Chemo, you know, I would have, you know, just been. Took me a long time to get to where I can create a sound that's of quality, you know. So
Yeah,
all
man.
the demo stuff was pretty rugged, and it was a lot of it was just recorded on off a turntable, just flow on an instrumental and just record on it live and try and give that to people because we had no equipment and shit like that. You know?
Man, speaking of that, of Chemo, that joint you did, Rise Up, you know, the video you had for that, like some years back,
Yeah,
Squirrels with Guns project, and yeah, man. I mean, again, that track I just associate with. I used to have like an old like MP3 player. It held about 10 songs. I probably had about 3 songs on there, and that was on there. So I used to listen to that on repeat so much. Do you know what I mean?
It got about.
It's a tune.
We supported Immortal Technique. I think the second time he came here, it was at Shepherd's Bush Empire, and me and all the squad, we was sort of getting towards releasing that live in protest, and it was all pretty much produced, pretty much mastered. And so we pressed up a load of CDs just in little like slip wallets, you know, just like a taster, and it had like 4 tracks on there and a few snippets of what was coming. And it was through Deal Real we got to do that show, and we was the opener of the whole thing because they had like a section of UK artists to open up the whole event, and out of the section of UK artists, I was the first one out of all them. So I'm pretty first person on that stage, and my memory serves me, we smashed it. It may have been terrible. Sometimes you think you smashed it, you see videos back and you go, oh my God, that was awful. You know, but at that time, I remember we got a big reaction, and I brought a lot of people with me, and we all had the DTB t-shirts and that. Big up all the squad. They was repping hard, and they all come on stage, and we was throwing all these CDs off the stage and everything. The amount of people who took tracks off of that CD and got it around was crazy. It was like people who only heard stuff from me from that CD that was thrown out at the Immortal Technique show and things like that. So you know, when you say on your MP3 player and stuff, like a lot of tracks were popping up online and stuff like that, and it was just like, how are they getting it? It's all from that one little CD that got thrown out at a show. I had people like hollering at me 2 years later. I'm in some show, I'd release stuff, and you know, and someone go, oh yeah, I know you, you're a rapper, I saw you at Immortal Technique show. Oh, God, that's so long ago. yeah you know?
Crazy, man. It's crazy because the video for that, the black and white one, I remember when Skirmish was down, I asked him about it, and he was just like, yeah, I was at work that day. He was like, all the other like Rhyme Asylum guys were there, but like I was at work that day. But he said to me that you were the first guy who got impressed on wax.
Really?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah.
Well,
you listen back to the interview, man. He was like, yeah, Mr. Manager was the first person who got me on wax.
Wow, that's love, man. Like, I love Rhyme Asylum, like literally, like
same, man.
Full squad before the split as well. Like,
Plasma and that, and Leatherface.
I love them all as people I met in that certain Deal Real era. They was all younger guys, and I was blown away. Like literally, when we have ciphers and so on, some of the stuff these guys were coming up with, I was just like, do you know how good you are? Like, you need to know, like, you know. And I've forever flown that flag for Rhyme Asylum. Just like incredible. It is an actual crime they are not releasing music.
Yeah, I know, man. I think, you know, due to whatever reasons, but yeah, those, you know, the 2 albums that they released were fucking incredible. Do you know what I mean? Just like, people throw it under the kind of horrorcore label, but it was just a lot of kind of metaphors, and they're big horror guys, aren't they? They like kind of horror films and various different things, so it's a lot of influence from that. But yeah, they were levels, man.
They're crazy, and they came from that scene, you know, and it's like that scene was just ciphering. It was rapping better than the next person around you and stuff, and that fueled a lot of people on. We went home from Deal Real on a Friday writing new verses because you knew you had to go back next Friday harder, you know what I mean? There was Monster Under the Bed used to be down there when he was young and his crew and that. And I see all these guys
Milk,
now.
yeah.
I've been
Crazy.
away from listening and seeing hip hop so much, you know, and dealing with a lot of life stuff. And I come back and I see all these people doing so good, and they are so good artists as well. And I'm looking. I remember this guy from then and then when he was coming through, and even going back then, all them guys were incredible lyricists. They may have changed their style and stuff now. That's cool. It's relative, man. It still sounds good.
Yeah.
Lyricists, so many, so many. Deal Real was doing that. Deal Real, Speakers Corner Time, Live in Protest. You know, us getting together for video shoots and shit like that. It was good fun, man. Good time.
Later on down the line, you formed Caxton Press.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, the Press, I mean, that absolutely banged. And it was with Amy True, MC Killer, Kingpin, DJ Snuff. You had a very kind of distinct London sound, very kind of versatile, a lot of good energy. What was the kind of vision behind that project?
So I think like Live in Protest had been out a little while. I had not done much music. I think I just sort of gone into a bit of a hole and was doing this and that. And when I do this is what I do. You know, I spend some time out, and sometimes a bit too long. And don't get me wrong, I always want to do music, but for whatever reason, I can't get there, right? And it was the same before Caxton that I had this sort of desire that I really want to get out of there. I really want to just write music and make fucking just good music. I really missed it. And I had this hunger, and I had linked up with Killer because he hollered at me for a track for his project. So we had done that. So the contact was there, but I had never met Killer. It was one of them online things. He hollered at me. We did it. It sounded great. And we'd never met until like, I don't know, a year or so later. And I was at a show and I see this guy on the mic just killing it. Clarity. We was talking about Clarity. Killer in a nutshell. To see this guy live, see this guy on track for, oh my God, the voice, cadence, Clarity. Killer is a pro in that. And I was stood there and I see this guy and Snuff nudged me because we used to just roll to shows and check it out, you know. And Snuff nudged me. He's like, oh, it's your boy, man. That's Killer. I was like, oh, damn. I ain't met the guy, you know what I mean? It's like, so after I'm like, yeah, we have a little chat and we just like, we started talking a bit more through then, you know, online or whatever, you know. So we were both wanting to do music and I'd been rolling with Kingpin a bit. And we both was both at a place where we was doing music and we sort of said, yeah, look, let's just like combine and do shows, innit? So we can sort of hype each other. So we can do a couple of your tracks, couple of my tracks. We'll mix up a couple tracks where we'll drop my second verse and you drop on that and just create a little show with Snuff on the decks. And that was going nice, you know, we was doing that nice. And I still was like, I want to get the shows and I'm not really interested in the show business. You know, I do like to do it. It's a great feeling doing a good show and thinking of people and stuff. But it was never my thing. It was always like I've been like the creation of music, you know, sitting, making sounds and just getting in my head and what I can come up with and then listening back to. Because when I got into hip hop, it was just me and my boys sitting around in each other's flats, fucking puffing and that, you know, just listening to stuff, playing games and whatever, you know, and that's sort of how we came. It was never about the gigs and all that stuff. So I wanted to get back into recording and I was like, all right. So I must have just said, I don't know why it was a big thing because I'd been out of it and it was like, am I really going to go back into this? Because believe it or not, being an artist can be a fucking misery sometimes, and it's all self-reflection. You're doing this yourself, but you can delve in there sometimes, and it can test your self-doubt and you know and stuff like that. And if things are going good for me as an artist, it's usually going good for me in life. You know, I usually feel great, and it works.
Art is a reflection of life, isn't it?
And I sat there and I was like, I got the phone and I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna do some shit, man. I've had enough of it. I'm gonna fucking get some shit together. And I hollered at Killer and I texted him and I said, yo, bro, man, I want to talk to you about something, man, like fucking on some real shit. And it was like late at night. It was like fucking 1 a.m. I say he works on that. And he just hit me back. Yeah, no, tell me what it is. He must have been in the same place as me, just like he needs to do some shit, you know. He had enough of just plotting around or whatever. And then I didn't reply. I left it, and I was like, "Oh, am I really going to go into all this and groups and music?" And for me, it just seemed daunting. I was like, "I can't put my head back into this shit, man." And then Killer was like, "No, holla." I was like, "I can't. I'll leave it. I'll holler you later." And he was like, "No, what's good?" And I was like, "All right, look, what do you feel about this?" And he was straight away, "Bang, I'm on it. Let's do it." And I was like, "And what do you think about with King as well?" You know, I've been working with King, and I think the three of us work really well together. Holiday King on it, all three of us on it. Studio sessions started getting booked. Now, about that time, we was repping End of the Week UK. Still repping End of the Week UK, always rep EO Dub. That's Dub Life. And we had a chance to go out for one of the world final competition final in Germany. And we took so many heads from the UK with us. And through that link up, Snuff got the link up with Amy True. She came out as a friend of English Franks, I believe, or the link was through People's Army. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And she came through, and we all vibed. Me, Killer, and Kingpin was there, and Amy was with us. So we were vibing a lot. We was doing a lot of sets out in Germany, in Berlin, where us four sort of combined a little stage show, if you like, and we were just getting on. And we said, when we get back to London, do you want to come down the studio of us three, just come and, you know, see what we can do? And that's how Amy got involved. She came studio, and we never looked back. We was just like, look, man, we've got something here, all four of us. There's no denying it. The energy's wicked. The tracks, come on, they talk for themselves.
Yeah, man.
I was just hollering at people for beats, and everyone hollered around and saw what was cracking. And I think we got about 4 or 5 tracks together, and then we started taking them live, and it went from there, man. We started building. We took some tracks from other projects that was being done. Like there's a few solo tracks on that album and stuff. So what people had been building, so we kind of merged it all together and like just built a nice solid product out of it, you know.
Yeah, man. Would you ever kind of go back to that and you know, link them again and make music, or is it kind of something that was a, you know, moment in time?
Well, Killer's on the new project. I think as a group, I mean, you never say never, do you? But it's I think we're all sort of gone different paths a bit musically now, and what was then is it's not the sound of now, you know, of what we would be doing now. And for me personally, I think it's good left there now. I think like we made our mark with it. It's nothing but love for everyone involved, and it goes around. I think everyone says that for each other. But we did have a discussion. We did meet up, and we were sort of excited to do it. And I think we did talk about it. And initially, we was excited, and everyone walked away like, yeah. And then I think time went past, and it didn't happen. And we had plans for it to happen. For whatever reason, it couldn't. And I think in that time, everyone had time to sort of settle down and think, and people had different things going on. And we decided, no, it's probably best to just leave it there, you know?
Of course, man. You don't want to kind of force something.
Yeah.
And also, it's as you say, it is kind of a moment in time. But I think what you touched upon earlier when you say, you know, it's life, and you kind of dip out of it, but then you come back to it.
Yeah.
There's a bar in the Live in Protest album, Industry Strike, with King Kai, when you say the name's never mentioned when discussing your favourites. I love rap music. I blatantly crave it. And again, that's just a bar that's always stuck with me, and I associate with you. It's just like, would you say you're addicted to hip hop and you'll always have it in your life?
Oh man, there used to be a point where I used to say, I think since I discovered hip hop, I have listened to hip hop every day of my life. You know, maybe not so much now. Life goes mad. It's not always, you can't always do that.
Yeah,
but it's yeah. I mean, once it's in there, I don't think it'll ever. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, love. It's a strange thing with hip hop. I mean, music generally. I've just ever since I was a kid, just anything musical just stuck with me, like, you know. And hip hop was one that just grabbed me the most, you know. I used to DJ jungle back in the day a bit, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
when that was getting fresh on the scene. I had a couple years sort of mixing jungle and then that was good fun. It's just about the energy and music, you know. But I think hip hop resonated with me the most for what it said, and you know, it spoke to me at an early age, you know.
And on the new project, you've got a track on there called "Cast of Your Idols," and it's
Yeah.
about kind of standing the cast of your idols. And you've mentioned kind of like Rakim and others and people like that. So who was it initially who you heard, or was there a particular record which really got you into hip hop originally?
Oh, boy.
Or several, man.
There is a lot. I was in a boarding school. Yeah, it was for basically kids who had been kicked out of other schools in London. It was run by ILEA, the Inner London Education Authority. It was fucking terrible. It was basically an excuse for a borstal. And I knew hip hop, but not like loads. I went there when I was age 8, and I turned up there with a scruffy blonde hair, fucking. Just not knowing what was going to be going on. Am I going to be fighting every day here? I just didn't know what I was going to be expecting. And every day we did hip hop in that school. We gathered round whatever stereo system. People would wire a Walkman to a speaker and stuff like that, and we would play tunes and we would dance. Do the Running Man, the shuffled splits and all this stuff, and we would do it. Yeah, I used to do all that shit as well. I was actually all right. And we beatbox and we tried to make tapes, and there is one of my earliest recordings was on this tape, and it was a 15-minute tape, one of the school tapes, whatever you'd nick that. I only had 15 minutes each side. And there was a tape of me rapping on there, and the tape's long gone now, and I'm forever like, I wish I had that. But I'm like age 9, and the lyrics were something along the lines of, my name is Danny B, in the place to be. The place to be is in South London with Danny B and his posse. And, and that was
9 years old, man. Come on.
89, man. I was 9 years old or whatever, you know. And that was it. And my friends beatboxing and trying to scratch with his mouth and shit. And we did this every day. And it was like, before we went bed and shit, we would just be sitting there. Someone would have tunes on, dancing. We'd go home, we'd record the radio, bring back fresh tapes. People would bring in tapes from home, because we used to go home like every 2 weeks. We'd go home for a bit. And you just record what you could off the stations. You had Kiss FM was pirate then, so you'd record that. And you had Choice FM. I don't even think Choice FM was about. But yeah, back then you had the Capital Rap Show with Westwood. You used to record that, and everyone would come back and be like, yeah, what have you got? What have you got? And some guys had skills with the pause button mixtapes. Like, I mean, serious skills, man. Like, guys had where they could pause it all up and you cut out all the adverts and make it sound like, I had guys doing beat juggling and pause button mixtapes, you know. First heard, what was it, Audio 2, Top Billing. Big Daddy Kane was the massive influence on me, as everyone. All the names you could think of them, from Rakim to De La Soul coming through and that sound and everything. NWA was massive. Being a bit of a delinquent kid, it just fitted. It's like, yeah, you know, Public Enemy was huge with me. And what really got me though was the UK stuff when it started coming through, and people were bringing in tapes of Gunshot, Hyde, and Blade. And so this is as I got a little bit older, and this stuff here, I was just like, wow, like this is what I need. Like it sounds like where I'm from, you know.
Yeah.
Like Demon Boys Recognition album, one of the best albums for me all time. You know, listening to Mike J on that Demon D going back to back on that shit, it's unbelievably good, good. And as a kid, I had it in my Walkman. And it would just be on rotation, because I'd only have like 2 tapes or something, man. You know what I mean? And just going between these 2 tapes, when you're in there overnight, you just put your headphones on, man, because you don't hear the noises of people fighting and whatever, and you know, getting up to mischief and that. So you just put your headphones on, and just listen to rap music all night. That's it.
It's mad though, because you know, the list of names you mentioned, like UK specifically, they're the ones I kind of went back to, because I didn't discover them at the time because I'm too young. Do you know what I mean? It was
I'm 41 now, man.
I'm 32 now, man. So even then, it was kind of, I came into UK hip hop through kind of You, Rhyme Asylum, you know, the kind of more like MySpace kind of time. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously like Skinny Man, and then like went back, listened to all the kind of, you know, low life stuff, and then even before that, you know, like Demon Boys, like Rodney P. It was kind of so much to discover.
You mentioned a Skinny Man there, yeah. Big up Skinny, right? When I came back I said, like, I went down Plymouth for a while, innit? And I started getting into this, like, writing lyrics down and stuff. Hey, I'm going to do this. I came back to London, like, 2 years later. And first thing is I'm going to go out. So my boys were going to this thing called, some rappers I've never heard of, called Company Flow. I'm like, cool, I'll come along, man. Whatever, you know. Yeah, it's hip hop. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're all right. We get to the thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm in this thing, and I'm seeing LP just absolutely destroy it. And I'm standing there going, bang, 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 each lyric's hitting me, and I'm going, is this what they're doing now? Is this what's going on now? Oh my God, I was just like, this is me. I love this shit. And I remember we was at Jazz Cafe, and it was absolutely rammed. This was like my welcome back to London after being away. And I was just like, oh my God, I missed this shit. Like, you know,
yeah, man.
Proud. And then they was like, yeah, some rappers want to get up. Any rappers want to get up? Any MCs want to get up? And I'm like, yeah, me. I didn't get on there. I'm pissed, man. I was trying to get up there, but I was at the back of the crowd, and there was bare heads jumped up first. And Skinny Man and Chester P got up there. And I'd never heard of these guys. I didn't even know what was going on too much in UK rap at this time. And I'd just come back to London and that. And the way they smashed it was next level. And I was just like, yes, UK rap is living hard in London now. And from that, I was at 5 days a week, every open mic, every show you could find, and so on and so on. Just living, breathing hip hop. Like, it was just from then for years, didn't stop. We was out every day. Whatever, whether it was just ciphering around someone's house or whether it was going here to link a producer or doing that, it was just constant. You know?
Yeah, man. Who in the UK at the moment are you rating?
Oh man, there's a lot, man. Verbs, guy coming through.
He's sick, man. He's like, yeah. He's been on the show before, and I often say it. It's like when you speak to him, he's so laid back, you know, he's just like, might as well be lying down, but then he raps and he just like becomes a completely different, he just comes alive. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I'm happy for him and Slips on High Focus now. I think that's good to get him some exposure, because he is sick, man. He's very kind of introspective, like self-reflective, like just very great storyteller.
I love his tone and his flow. It's really, really nice. Really nice.
Yeah, man.
There is so many good artists out here, and so many artists who are still doing it really good. To name them would be mental.
Yeah, of course, man.
So much out there that I'm hearing, and a lot of stuff you probably wouldn't even think I'd be checking for. Like, you know, it's just like, there's so much good stuff out there, man. It don't stop, really. It's really good to see the UK scene as far as MCs and producers and that just thriving. Because for a long time it was quiet, you know. And it's all different styles as well, you know. Like, you got your straight lyricism, you got your conscious artists, you got this, and it's all over the place, and there's just so much talent. It's a great thing.
Yeah, you're 100% right, man. There's a lot of different offshoots, you know, whereas it's not just kind of boom bap anymore. It's kind of, there's loads of different offshoots and people doing different things, but
I mean, the boom bap thing doesn't really resonate with me so much no more, you know. Just I used to be like really straight up for that, and I think it's just getting, I like a lot of the kind of more trippier stuff now, you know, kind of like the slow, moody, weird stuff is really
Blah and that.
Oh, we love Blah, man.
Yeah,
I can't get that with my eyes, man. But yeah, a lot of that sound, I guess a lot of people are into the Griselda kind of vibe, which myself, I love it. You know?
Yeah, same, man.
And that style of production reminds me of when we first started trying to make loops and stuff, what we was doing, but we was just doing it at faster speed. But them kind of dirty little samples and just that grimy, weird sound, I love that, man. And I love that a lot of UK rappers are doing it now as well. Sounds really good to me.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, the Griselda stuff, it's all real, like, decadent in it. Like the production's really like, you listen to it and it's so crisp but yeah, it's so like greasy and just like, like the fuck, it sounds so good.
I think Beat Butcher's having a nice involvement in that as well, which is good, man.
It's good to see him do so well, man. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he's been about for a minute and working with a lot of people overseas, but is he based in America now?
I have no idea, man. I haven't spoken to Butcher for a long time, man. Yeah. I'd like to catch up still.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's good. It's great seeing people from the UK like do so well. Do you know what I mean? And just link with people like that. And also when you mentioned LP earlier, Company Flow, and obviously what he's doing now, like Run the Jewels, and it's good to see like older heads kind of actually doing something that innovative and taking rap in different directions. You know.
I know it. Like, I was in that trap thinking it's a young man's game for a while. Like, I was there, like, not really. You know, your brain doesn't get slower, really. To be honest, if anything, you learn more and get better and better. I think. You know?
It's weird, isn't it? Because it's like a stigma, isn't there? It's like a stigma with Asian rap, and I don't know why. Because there isn't with any other genre of music, really.
Me and Blitz, my boy in CNT, Codename Theory, we're still doing shit, and we just take the piss out of it all. We know we're old men, you know. We don't really care for all the get out. We just think it's all a laugh to talk about having a cuppa and dipping biscuits in and fucking just taking the piss out of it all, really.
Yeah, man. I mean, you sum that up in the intro to the new EP, really, don't you? You talk about like it's not glam rap, like just stop taking it so seriously. It just kind of sets the tone, but then that's kind of juxtaposed with some of the topics you rap about. Do you know what I mean? Some of the shit's like, damn, like Manage is still like spitting truth, and he's still coming with those kind of, you know, self-conscious bars, and it's just it's sick.
I think it's always going to be that, you know, like. I remember like years ago, there were certain people I hung about with and they said to me things like, you got to change it up, you know? And I think they meant like to go double time and do this and do that. And I was like, yeah, not really. I don't really like that. I like doing what I like.
Just do you, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Well, at that time, I was more sort of took people's word a bit stronger because I was like, I thought it meant something to me as didn't really. But, you know, it's quite funny that a lot of them people who suggested change up and they changed up, they're not around. They changed up a lot, man, and disappeared, you know. There's a lot to be said for staying true to your sound, you know. And I think like my sound has always stayed, really, regardless of who I've worked with. A lot of the time, if there is emerging sounds, my one is still very prominent, you know.
Yeah, it's timeless, isn't it? It's not like a fad. Like, do you know what I mean? If people just following trends and just saying, "Oh yeah, people are cottoning onto this," and then like it ages something so terribly. Do you know what I mean? If it's done like disingenuously, and you're just like, "Fuck it, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon," and you can't really do it. It's not really you. You get sniffed out. Do you know what I mean? Like instantly by people.
Some people just spread themselves thin, man. You know, they just put themselves here trying to get on, but as you know, you just hear someone who's original and kind of kept their stance on what they're doing, and it's a good thing, man.
Definitely, man. But you mentioned earlier that you supported Immortal Technique, and you've shared a stage with other like a lot of legends, man, as well, like Wu-Tang, Jedi Mind Tricks. What are some? Have you got any kind? What's like the wildest live stories that you have?
Wow.
Or one?
Okay. Oh no, there's plenty, man. One of the most that stands out to me is Caxton Press when we had when Kingpin had left the group, and it was me, Amy, and Killer, and we had got a show with Public Enemy at Coco, opening up for them. We had a full live band that rehearsed all our songs, and it sounded amazing. And we went and did it. And it was just really good. But the thing that gets me is like we come off stage and it was like a sort of dark curtain, you know, to like this dark corner when you come off a stage. And we sort of went back there, and we was three of us. We knew we'd smashed it. So we just like turned around to each other. We just like nudged, like, yeah. We're amped. Like, yeah, we killed that. That was wicked. And then you just hear this, and just one solo clap from like the corner. We turned around. It's fucking Chuck D, man.
What?
Like,
Come on.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh shit. And he just walked over, and his words were, he went, unfucking believable. And he gave us all a hug. And he said to us, you guys are one of the best things I have seen in years. No bullshit. And I'm fucking gassed right now. I'm just like, shit, man.
What an accolade, man. That is like...
Yeah, but then the accolade went further, man, because he took our CD off us and everything. And he went out to do their show. There's videos of it on YouTube where he spent like the first 5 minutes before their set talking about us and saying how he loves groups and that mentality and how they need to support the fuck out of us and other groups and so on and so on. And we just couldn't believe it, man. It got, the next day he posted on Twitter holding our CD straight away. We didn't ask him to do this. He done this. He put us on his radio station. When he played us on his radio, when he went back to the States, he does his show, and he played us as the first track, and he talked about us for a couple of minutes before the track.
Fuck, like, man, that's amazing.
Proper intro and everything, and to get that was just like, yeah, all right, Chuck, calm down, man. It's going to be embarrassing, you know what I mean?
No, that's incredible, man.
No, it totally wasn't. I try and play it down, but I was gassed. Absolutely gassed. It's like, he's an idol, man. You know what I mean? It was Chuck D there, man. Yeah.
You said it's on YouTube, that footage, man. I'll make a note of it.
There was some footage, there was some footage on YouTube of him coming out and basically shouting us out and stuff like that, and it's really good. I'll have to. And there's so much stuff.
What year was that again?
Sort of the end of Caxton.
So around 2014, 15, something like that?
14. We'll go with 14 because it was like the later times.
Oh, man, cool. I'm definitely going to check that out.
And that obviously will stay with me. That was a pretty surreal thing to come off to just Chuck D really loving your stuff, man. Shows what a kind of guy he is, though, because he's been promoting independent artists since day dot with a station and so on and back, and just shows what he's about, man. He's about that culture,
100%, man. I bet you get kind of different characters in hip hop. More like people a bit more like prima donna than others, and diva-ish behaviour from some, and then others who are more like down to earth like that. So it's sick that you meet someone who's like considered an absolute legend and then is actually like a nice person as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've met a lot of people on the way, like all the JMT guys and that. Like, I did that track with Crick the War Child. So when they come over, he came and like spent a day with us. Really, we drove him around and stuff. Took him to Brixton to record, and he was loving it, man. Like, as soon as we took him to Brixton, we took him to the market to get falafel wraps and that. And he was just like, oh, this is just like Philly. And it's just like, yeah, man. It was nice to like walk him around. Shabazz, he was over. He was in New Cross. I took him to go find some jerk chicken and that.
Nice,
man. To walk him through the ends. And he was very New Yorked out with the big clothes, the big jacket and everything. And a lot of people were just looking. I walked in what used to be my local West Indian restaurant there. They were just like, oh, who's this guy? I was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, that was some surreal moments, man. It was good. A lot of shows hanging out with these people, and that is real cool as well,
Definitely, man. Just like a shared love for hip hop, innit? It's just like what it's all about. But before we wrap up, man, so the Scrapbook EP is out very soon.
July 13th.
July 13th. Okay, so imminently. And on Revorg Records.
That's right.
Yeah, man. And they're doing great things. They're putting out some really good music at the moment, man.
Yeah, they've done a lot for me, man. Big up to Revorg, man. There's they held me down with the Codename Theory release, which was me and Blitz. They're holding me down with this release. For me to be able to holler at someone when I've just basically made something in a couple of weeks and just be, yo, man, what do you think of this? And just to go, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
No problems, no questions asked. They're 100%. Excellent, man. What more can you ask for as an artist, man?
Sick, man. It's also a testament to the project, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Providing a quality product. But no, man. I mean, like, we were supposed to have Tough Boys on the podcast. He was going to come down to Bournemouth some time ago, but like, I had to push it out due to like moving and stuff. And then
you need extra security, and if the Tough Boys are coming down,
and then COVID happened and stuff. So I need to link up with them again. I need to get back to them actually about sorting a podcast like over Skype, so that'd be quite good. But yeah, man. Before we wrap up, is there anyone you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug besides the EP, or anything you want to talk about, man?
Everyone involved in the EP, man. You know, Revorg for just taking it on, MC Killer for just coming through and basically a moment just saying, yeah, cool, done it like a pro. Chemo for coming through and just like. At the same time, I'd sent like Chemo just hit me up like out of the blue and was just like, yeah, what's good, man? It's just like, yeah, what's happening? Oh man, I've been making this project, man. Like, you know, and he was like, oh, let me hear it. I was like, yeah, what? Shame mix. He's like, I just send it. I sent it. He goes, oh, this is fucking sick, man. Let me master this thing. I was like, all right, cool, excellent.
Because he's under like Telemachus, like he released that project recently, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's an amazing producer. Like,
he is.
You know. And his sound is you know, so just the people that came through right now for that is just like, it's great. Jack Diggs on the artwork come through and just like the same, just dropped everything, went cool, let's do it, you know, and shot the video as well. So Jack Diggs is getting really good on the videos and that, man, and his eye for photography. You know, Jack Diggs is like an all-round threat right now. Rap, produce, videos, artwork, really good.
Self-sufficient, man.
Yeah, it's doing really good things. Just got to big up the squad, really. You know what I mean? CNT, Codename Theory, my boy Blitz. Got to shout him up. I don't even listen. You know, don't really pay attention to anything I say. You know? Yeah, just everyone, man. He's been looking out for the managed stuff, man. You know, my boy Snuff, Kizzy, all the old squad. You know, all the family. Love.
Big up, man. I mean, managed, man. I mean, this guy's an OG.
Oh, sorry. End of the week. You know, R.I.P. Vice Versa, man. Love. Ty. You know what I mean? What can I say, man?
Yeah, man, for sure. It's been a difficult year, you know, in that respect. But managed, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Go check out his music. Go support his thing. I'm really gassed for people to hear the Scrapbook EP because it's a fucking banger. I can't wait to
get more out there, man. I can't wait to get more videos and just kind of just be out there again. I want to do some shows soon and stuff and just, yeah, man.
Well, hopefully that's a thing that can happen soon, you know, like shows and stuff. Because at the moment it's all like...
I'm already back on recording, man. I'm already writing. I'm already got the shit going. I can't stop now because it's like, this has happened now, and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I can just get on and do loads of music and put it out. And let's just keep doing it, you know. So yeah, I'm just mad hungry at the minute. I just want to work with everyone because I've done that project and it's all just me. I now want to work with everyone else, sort of thing, you know.
Honestly, man, I hope it gets like the reception it deserves, and when you put it out, I hope people start listening again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and maybe find like a new audience as well.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I've had a lot of new people hollering at me, man. Just so that's good. It's all good.
100%, man. Well, we're Shotgun the Orcs at Shotgun the Orcs on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that. Like, subscribe, etc. Mr. Manage, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. Peace.
Appreciate it, man. One love.